Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And today's show is brought to you by the Pilsner House and Beer Garden. Go visit our friends at 1422 Grand Street. Have a great Pilsner House original. Have a watermelon salad that we tried a few weeks ago. And even try their new flatbread. And speaking of flatbreads, which is pretty much not the same here, we are going to be diving into a new pizza shop in Hoboken. Joining me, and look at her, her eyes are bolting out of her head. I don't know why.
I'm making fun of your transition.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, you try doing it next time. Krista Stucchio of #FoodPick. Welcome back. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So speaking of this new pizza shop,
Yeah.
it's called The Pizza Shop.
The Pizza Shop.
By Flour, located at 500 Jefferson Street. And for all those old Hoboken people out there, you would know them as the former Delfino's Pizzeria.
You're included in that.
I am included in that. We had no ownership of the pizzeria, but it is my familia, Del and Frank Biancamano, where my father are my fathers. They're still with us. Sorry, Del and Frank. I know you guys watch every week. Are my father's first cousins, and they own that shop for over 30 years.
It's crazy.
I know. It's amazing. They made Italian delicacies down there, and they finally had a chance to retire, and good for them. They're spending time with their families.
Yeah, and now the pizza shop
Yeah.
has big shoes to fill.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
So talk to me, because it's a little bit of a different concept right now.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking off camera about this.
Yeah.
Right now, just the takeout is open, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to open up the dine-in.
Yeah, so takeout and delivery. So they're still kind of getting everything situated inside. I haven't seen what it looks like. I am going to get in there, though, and get a little sneak peek. But from what I've heard, it's going to be a BYO spot, more of a kind of an open kitchen concept. So it sounds pretty chic. I'm excited.
All right. Which is funny because Delfino's did renovates later on in their later
I want to
years.
see old pictures
Exactly,
of that.
but it was like your old school,
Yeah.
the tablecloths look like the shirt I'm wearing right now.
I love that you're making fun of yourself, saying that you're wearing a tablecloth.
I tried to transition from a flatbread to a pizza before, so.
You do better than me, honestly. I will give you credit. It's tough.
This is why I love Krista. So, have you had the takeout at the pizza shop?
I have. Actually, I think it was their first day open.
No way.
I was hanging out with some friends in Weehawken talking about how it was opening up, and they're in the restaurant industry, so we ordered 3 pies to Weehawken. Wow. And I wrote down the pies, and
okay.
because I wanted to talk more about them.
Sure.
So let's see. So their menu is pretty small, which I like because I feel like less choices is always like it's just better. And like the pizza shop, it's so funny to call it that. Right. They're definitely working hard on those pizzas. Like you've only got, a small selection, so they're going to be good. Right. So anyway, we got.
I'm sorry to interrupt you 1 second.
Yeah.
I love when it's a small menu because they have a limited amount of dishes and they know what they do and they know that they do it right. Correct.
Exactly.
I mean, because sometimes when you have all of these items on the menu, it's just overwhelming for people.
Oh yeah, and I always want everything, so it's even more overwhelming because I'm like, can I just get the whole menu? Like I'm not a picky eater, so it's tough.
Exactly. So sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they actually have a pie called the Delfino.
That's right. I did know that. I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah. So I love that they did that. I think that's super cute, super sweet. So that one is tomato mozz, fennel sausage, chili oil, and onion. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I love the sauce especially.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the second one we had was so they have a square pie as like a special, kind of like a special thing, which I love when pizza shops have a square pie. We did half pepperoni and mushrooms, half plain.
Okay.
So just kind of like a little bit more of your classic. And then the last one was called No Cap.
No cap.
No Cap. It's a white pie with garlic, ricotta cream, and shrooms.
What?
I said shrooms like mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing on the weekends, but that's a different story for a different time. Would you say it looks like those pies are all over the place? Would you say that they're one is I wouldn't even say better because they're so different? Each of them tasted unique. Yeah.
It's really hard to choose a favorite. I feel like a go-to out of those three, something that I could eat all the time, is the Delfino. Like I I like sausage on my pizza.
I'm a big fan too.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's like kind of a classic for me. But that garlic, there was a ton of garlic on this pie. So to some people, maybe it's a little too much, but for me, it was amazing.
Huge garlic fan
Yeah.
right here.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
preaching to the choir.
And the best part is, I was in Weehawken. So the fact that, delivery, you're always skeptical about delivery. Is it going to arrive, the way that I want it? So crispy, so hot. Like, we were impressed. I really thought, I was with, restaurant owners, so I was like ready for their critiques, but
she was with the big guns.
I was.
Unbelievable.
And, they passed the test.
Boom.
Yeah.
Good job, the pizza. Still a little bit of an awkward name, but you know what? It's a unique name in my opinion.
I like it. I think it's strong. I think it's like them claiming like we are the pizza shop in town.
That's interesting.
I'm a fan.
You know what's funny too? It might be a marketing tool as well, because if you Google pizza shops near me, what's going to pop up?
I'm going to try Googling that after this and see what happens.
I'm on to you, pizza shop. I'm on to you.
Yeah.
Now, Delfino's was known also for their pasta fazola soup. And sorry, I don't know why I said soup after that.
No, please keep.
And a lot of their Italian dishes.
Yeah.
Does the pizza shop have any pasta dishes or soups or anything like that?
So as far as I know, the menu for takeout and delivery is just pies.
Wow.
So I think whatever concept they have going on for sit down will incorporate some of that. I am very interested to see if there will be Delfino's classics on the menu.
That would be
What would you like to see?
Oh, you got to be the pasta fazool. I mean, he also made this unbelievable seafood pasta dish that people during Lent, which of course just passed, used to go there on Fridays and order.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Cousin Del, I love you. I know you're watching down in Seaside Heights, 1 block away from the beach, Cousin Del.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But it looks like the place that he built along with his brother Frank is in good hands.
Yeah, no, it seems like it. I mean, like I said earlier, big shoes to fill, but I think they know that and they're taking it very seriously. I was reading, more about them because I haven't got a chance to stop in yet, but I know everything that they're incorporating into their food is organic, local, maybe both. I know they're working with Jersey Girl cheese.
Interesting.
So I'm a big fan of them, which is great. I love local business, supporting local business.
Beautiful. Amen to that, Krista. Yeah. And she pumped up her fist. Krista, and I also like that they're doing the takeout and delivery at first just with pizzas because it kind of breaks into the pizza oven. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a nice little slow rollout.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we spoke about this a few weeks ago when you were on about, and we were talking about Mojo Coffee.
Yeah.
We said, my God, there's coffee shops everywhere. Pizzerias are also popping up everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been. It's a Hoboken thing.
100%. And who needs Dave Portnoy? Stay wherever you're at, Dave. We have Krista Stucchio.
Wow, big words.
Big words right there. Would you say that the pizza spot?
Pizza shop?
This pizza spot called the Pizza Shop.
Now we're just confusing ourselves.
Is, filling in a niche for the area.
That's a great question. I was actually thinking about this earlier. I mean, I don't think it's going to go unnoticed. I think right now, a lot of you out there have no idea what the heck this is, so we're telling you about it. But I feel like it's gonna make a splash. I feel like it's up there with, for me, like Napoli's is very well known here, and 10th Street with the square pie. There's some competition. I don't know.
Those are some heavy hitters.
I know, and I love them. I love them all. I love pizza, but I don't think that the pizza shop is going to go unnoticed, especially with their second concept too.
Right. Well, you heard it here first. Get to the Pizza Shop by Flour, 500 Jefferson Street, the old Delfino's Pizzeria. Krista, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, as always.
It. Krista Stucchio of at #FoodPick. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Absolutely. Folks, we will be right back.
Welcome to Hudson River Care Counseling. Hello, I'm Dr. Pam Pater-Ennis, the CEO and founder of Hudson River Care Counseling with over 30 years of clinical social work experience in therapy. We are a progressive counseling and coaching practice with a diverse team that brings a holistic approach to clients. We offer support both in person and through digital platforms such as telehealth. Consider us a safe haven that you can trust with care for your mental health needs. Visit our website to set up a consultation today.
Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, don't forget to go on our Facebook and our Instagram pages by searching The Pulse with Peter B. and like and follow us on each of those platforms. We're constantly updating those pages with previews of each week's segments and cool stories. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our email address at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com. Welcome back to The Pulse with Peter B. Peter Biancamano here at Hudson River Care Counseling, located at 310 Cedar Lane in Teaneck, New Jersey, and also in Hoboken at 63A 8th Street. And she's smiling because we practiced that off camera before the segment started, but we're honored to be joined by the president and founder and CEO of Hudson River Care Counseling, and that is Dr. Pam Pater-Ennis. Dr. Pam, how are you today?
I'm good, Peter. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I guess we're going to do a little bit of an overview segment of the services rather you provide here. And why don't we begin with how Hudson River Care Counseling began?
I think it was, I should know this, it was 12 years ago, so I guess I remember that, and I had relocated to New Jersey, 4 years before that, and just kind of scrambling to find jobs. I had multiple jobs, and with a colleague, I finally just said, you know what? It's time to do this thing. It's time to develop our own practice. And so it just started very small. I think we literally started with 5 or 6 clients. We originally were in Englewood, in Hoboken, and we came over here about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, here to Teaneck. And it's been great space. And we've just mushroomed. We've been very blessed. And then with the pandemic, we've really grown. Telehealth, if you read the New York Times or keep up on the media, telehealth has just boomed during the pandemic. We used to say maybe only 10% of our people came online on Zoom or Google, but now it's the opposite. Only 10% of our people are coming in the office.
Wow.
So it's a huge change that we've had to adjust to.
And now, Dr. Pam, I think you hit the nail on the head with the pandemic. Obviously, mental health is so much more prevalent now than it ever was before because of the pandemic that is still ongoing. Why does somebody like you go into mental health?
I was probably one of those crazy kids. I always wanted to, I majored in sociology and psychology in undergrad, and I always wanted to be a social worker. I have no idea why. I probably didn't even really know what it was. Or it's either going to be that or be a missionary. That was my goals as a kid. And then I went to college and I did major in sociology and psychology, and then went right on to grad school after that. And here I am. I'm going to belie my age, but I've been doing this 38 years this year. So
unbelievable. And you said you started out pretty small, almost like we did on the Pulse, and now we're trying to go worldwide, Dr. Pam. We're trying.
Wow,
we're trying.
I think we're going to be moving at least nationally, if not internationally, eventually. But we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. But you said you started small. 5 to 6 clients.
Yeah, exactly.
How many clients do you serve today?
I was just looking at the stats. I think our biggest month to date, I think, was March of this year, and I think we served 950 clients.
Wow!
In a month.
In a month. Unbelievable. Well, we said it. And did you see a big spike after the pandemic?
Yes, and slowly. I think in the early pandemic, and this team here who are here sitting behind me could attest to this, that we really had to work really hard. We scrambled to figure out how we were going to move everyone to telehealth. We had to figure out the ethics of that, the platforms. So it was a little bit of a crunch at first. We pretty much all worked at home, I think, that spring, and then by the summer we were starting to come back. And the other thing that we had to adjust to was we have a lot of students. One of the things we do really well here is we have a strong student program for we work with a lot of different schools like NIAC for mental health master's programs like Rutgers, NYU, UD, who's going to be on a later segment, graduated from NYU. We have had Columbia students for them. So we really are blessed by that. We've always had a strong student program, but in the pandemic, a lot of agencies weren't even taking students. So we kind of just said, we can do this. So we developed an even stronger student program to the point where now we have at one time anywhere from 10 to 12 students in every academic year.
Wow. And Dr. Pam, you mentioned the many different services that are provided here at Hudson River Care Counseling. For your Bergen County folks, come over to Teaneck. People in Hudson County, after you have a great sandwich from Bianca Mano's Deli, you can go down and visit Dr.
right down
Pam.
the street.
Exactly, just a few blocks away. You have different specialties here. You have different people working on different specialties. What is your specific specialty?
My specialty, I would say, is really around trauma, working with sexual abuse. I have a subspecialty, which we're probably going to do in a later segment, around working with victims of religious and spiritual abuse. But it's really trauma, working with people who have been sexually abused or some type of abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse as a child, or domestic violence as an adult, and working with them through those stages of healing. And we're at the point of trying to extend that and expand that with some students who have actually, well, no longer students, who just graduated, and training them in those methodologies. And we have a coaching arm, which our colleague Yudi is going to present in the next segment. Let's see, what else do we do? We have a pretty strong youth and family and children program, which we'll talk too about in later segments.
Well, that's fantastic. And Dr. Pam, when a client comes into Hudson River Care Counseling, what do you hope they take out of a session with you?
Gosh, that's a good question. I think our premise, our value system is really, maybe perhaps our mission statement too, is we really want people to heal with holistically, in mind and body and spirit, really. Just that we know that all those three dimensions are connected.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to cover the telehealth, because I feel like it's so important. We talk about, actually visiting the offices, but you could do it right online. I mean, and from anywhere in the world.
Let me give a caveat to that. No, that's fine. Yeah. With Yudi, who's going to present, with life coaching, we can do all over the world and really throughout the country, because we're not dependent on licensure, although Yudi is a licensed social worker as well. However, we have clinicians here who we can see anywhere in New York State, anywhere in New Jersey. We do have a licensed clinician in Massachusetts now. We have 3 licensed clinicians in Florida. So we are expanding, so we can see people in Florida, New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. Beyond that, we have to use a coaching model, which is where Yudi comes in.
I see. Interesting. Well, and hopefully you'll expand to even greater lengths across the country. So, Dr. Pam, where can people find more information on Hudson River Care Counseling, besides, as I said, visiting the 2 locations?
Our website.
Your website, any type of social media. I'm sure that they could log on and schedule a consultation.
Yeah, our website
and so on.
I guess it's up, right? But www.hudsonrivercareandcounseling.com. We are also available at 201-541-8600.
I'm just thinking your staff must have increased as well now that you provide in-person and digital services.
I think we have at this point currently, I should look at these stats. I mean, we have 12 students currently, master's level students, and we have some full-time, some part-time, around 25 staff. And the really cool thing, and the thing that we feel so blessed by, is that there's staff with different language groups. We have a Cantonese speakers, we have a Mandarin speaker, we have Hebrew speakers, we have, of course, English, Spanish speakers, Korean speakers. I think that's what we represent now. And we have people we're interfaith. We have if you want to use a faith perspective, we have Christians and we have Jews and we have people who work more secularly as well.
Well, that's Dr. Pam, founder and CEO of Hudson River Care Counseling. Thank you so much. We're
Thank
honored
you,
to have
Peter.
you on,
I'm
always.
honored to be here.
Exactly. And hopefully we'll see you in a few months on the show.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we will be right back. Peter Biancamano back with you. Don't forget to watch us on cable access every Sunday and Monday at 9 a.m. Optimum Channel 18, Files Channel 46, and Comcast Channel 190. Also on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m., you can watch our show on our YouTube channel, and you can also binge watch all of our old shows. Who doesn't want to keep watching The Pulse with Peter B? We'll see you there. Welcome back to The Pulse with Peter B, and I feel like Houdini this episode. I was in studio for the first segment, and then we had a wonderful exclusive interview with Dr. Pam over at Hudson River Care Counseling in Teaneck, and now we're here at beautiful Maxwell Place Pier for our pro wrestling, segment of the month, by month? I don't know. What, Rob?
I appreciate that you're having me back as a repeat guest. This means either you like me or the viewers like me. But I'm glad to be back, and it is nice to be outside in Hoboken. It's nice to be surrounded by the sense of summer and the feeling of summer. So it's good to be here.
Well, Rob, I could tell you that I like you and the viewers like you, unlike Josh Sotomayor Einstein, who nobody likes.
Well, I'll leave that to you.
All right, great. So, of course, Rob Tonnesen is our pro wrestling insider, and we've had you on plenty of times before talking about the E, as they like to call it in the business, which is the WWE. And the last time you were on, I was like, I want to cover AEW. I want to cover All Elite Wrestling. Why not do it for one of their marquee pay-per-views of the year, which takes place next weekend, May the 29th, and the pay-per-view is called
Double or Nothing. Now, what AEW really does, AEW All Elite Wrestling, what they do really, really well is the WWE runs pay-per-views every month, or premium live events every month. So you'll have a January show, a February show, so on and so forth. But what AEW does, which is fantastic, is they do one every 3 months.
Interesting.
So you have one in March, you have one in May. Their next one isn't going to be until Labor Day weekend in early September, and then you have one in late November. So they kind of spread it out, which gives a lot more time for storylines to develop and for really them to want you to go to and watch the event.
Now, and do you like that better?
Much
Do you
better.
think, okay, interesting.
Much
Now,
better.
talk to me about your shirt.
Okay, so every time I've been here, I've tried to wear a different wrestling shirt. I've worn Brody Lee, Nick Gage, Effie, NWO in tribute to Scott Hall, but I am currently wearing Danhausen. Danhausen is a all-elite wrestler. He is kind of what you would say if a demon inhabited a human being and didn't know how to properly human. So he's very nice, he's very evil. He also wants all the monies, and his favorite mode of transportation is a blimp and a PT Cruiser.
Interesting. Wow, very, very interesting. All right, well, let's get to the card of Double or Nothing, again, live on pay-per-view on Sunday, May the 29th. And why don't we start with a bang? Why don't we start with the main event, Adam Page versus one of your favorite wrestlers, everybody knows it, Mr. CM Punk. Who do you like in this one?
Well, as you said, for those of you that know me, I've known CM Punk's career since I was in 8th grade when he was wrestling at the Charity Hall in Bayonne, New Jersey for Jersey All Pro Wrestling.
There you go. He gives a shout out to his hometown, too. There you go.
Always have to. But CM Punk has been out of wrestling for 7 years since he left the WWE. It's been 7 years. So personally, I love CM Punk. Hangman Page is another one because before Hangman Page was a professional wrestler, he was actually a high school teacher. Wow. So he's transitioned from teaching to wrestling, and this is actually really, really fun because it's two guys that you kind of are both rooting for both for reasons. Because CM Punk, because he's been away for 7 years and kind of like the cult hero of professional wrestling, and Adam Page is one of those underneath guys that really kind of grew through Ring of Honor, through New Japan when he had that year in the G1. But I absolutely think they should not take the title off Hangman Page here, especially because where they want to go with Hangman and CM Punk being away for 7 years. I'm not trying to say he doesn't deserve it, but CM Punk is one of those wrestlers that doesn't need a belt. He's there to elevate the crop of talent, because one of the major differences between WWE and AEW is AEW is really the next generation, sprinkled in with a couple of names you have heard from the past, like CM Punk, the Hardys, and Christian. I can go on and on about people that have been in WWE, but now have transitioned to AEW.
And when TNA was an actual organization, I mean, they kind of were criticized for basically having washed-up wrestlers join their ranks. You wouldn't say that with AEW, correct?
I would not say that, because every hire that Tony Khan, the owner of All Elite Wrestling, has done, he's made sensible hires. So when you bring in a guy like Samoa Joe or a guy like Adam Cole, who has name recognition from WWE, they still have some name recognition, and they still have some value. They still have wheels on the tires. Unlike when TNA signed someone like Scott Steiner, and I love Scott Steiner, but when you sign him in his early 40s to mid 40s, especially when he had the career he had, it's kind of on the last legs.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, let's get to more of the card of Double or Nothing, and let's talk about the Owen Hart Foundation. And I think we need to talk about this in generality at first, because Owen Hart, of course, tragically died from, I guess, a harness breaking in Kansas City, Missouri, where he landed hundreds of feet on a ring post. And his wife, of course, I believe her name is Martha?
Dr. Martha Hart.
Yes, Dr. Martha Hart is still has kind of gripes with the WWE, with, I guess, using his name and so on and so forth. So now AEW is doing an Owen Hart Foundation where they have a men's and a women's tournament final. Explain to the audience what that is.
Okay, so one of the major things about AEW is actually they've gotten several people to fall in love with professional wrestling. CM Punk being away for 7 years, coming back and working. Tony Schiavone, a commentator for WCW when we were kids.
Yeah, sure.
He went on to be a commentator for the Atlanta Braves and came back to wrestling.
Interesting.
And Owen Hart's really their newest one. So when Tony Khan approached the Hart family and said they wanted to honor Owen with this, really what happened was Martha came to a couple of AEW shows, and Tony Khan showed them how AEW is, and Martha feels comfortable with the Owen Hart legacy, because it's not just the Owen Hart name, it's everything with the foundation, it's everything with the charity, and it's bringing awareness, and it's something that the fans have not gotten in almost 20 years since we've lost Owen, and that's able to celebrate him and cherish him. So if you watch AEW, a lot of matches are callbacks to previous Owen Hart or Bret Hart matches, where they'll do little things or little moves that will be remembrance. So you have a bunch of people that are both men and women that are involved in the tournament that are either have worked personally with Owen, like Jeff Hardy, or guys like Dax Harwood, Ruby Soho, on the women's side, who have been greatly influenced by Owen and have mentioned several times how the Owen Hart and the Hart family have influenced their wrestling career.
Very, very interesting. Okay, so now the matches.
The tournament is still going on as we're recording. The tournament is still going on as we're recording. But if I had to pick a winner right now, I definitely think it should really be on the men's side. I think it should be a name I mentioned before, Samoa Joe.
Interesting.
Because Samoa Joe is one of those guys that can be the guy to have the Owen Hart name as well as continue it with the idea of being the first one. And as far as the women, I really, really like Toni Storm. She was a NXT UK product, and now she's coming into to AEW and is really finding her footing.
All right, we look forward to that. All right, Rob, we only have a few seconds left, and we still have 2 matches to go. First, Eddie Kingston versus Mr. Chris Jericho. Who do you like?
I love Eddie Kingston because his promos are real. He's a Puerto Rican from the Bronx that tells you how it is.
I like that a lot. And then finally, MJF versus Wardlow.
Wardlow really is just the big mountain of a man. MJF is really God's gift to heel wrestling. He is just perfect. He's a jerk from Long Island that loves the Islanders. So he basically is a guy that you want to hate but can't.
Exactly. Well, listen, we got a capacity crowd here that is really looking forward for Double or Nothing next week. And when are we going to see you back here?
Well, I mean, we're getting to the summer of wrestling, so GCW has Tournament of Survival, PWG has Bola, SummerSlam's in July, so this is really the summer of pro wrestling.
Well, leave it to Rob Tonnesen to tell you that this is the summer of pro wrestling, our Pro Wrestling Insider. Thanks so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Good to see you again. All right, folks, join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. I hope you have a great week, everybody.